Cash flow or appreciation, which one is more important for active real estate investors, especially when it comes to wealth building? Well, that is what we're going to be discussing on today's episode of the Never Lose a Deal podcast. Welcome and thanks for joining me. This is Brown-Phillips, host of the Never Lose a Deal podcast. As always, this podcast is for real estate investors who want to learn out of the box creative financing strategies to expand their real estate portfolio. And that is what we are talking about today. Cash flow or appreciation. Which one is more important? Let me share with you this. This topic came up based on some conversations that I was having offline with some investors. And it started because I was talking to a real estate investor here in my state of New Jersey. This particular individual is a working professional, and they want to be able to expand their portfolio, which is the demographic of the people that I work with. And the question was, we talked about financing. I was at a networking event, and the person, don't want to reveal gender, but the person had said, I don't understand why when I talk to different financing professionals who provide financing for real estate, why I get a different answer from different people when I ask them questions. And I shared with her, which is what I always do with every real estate professional, because most people, especially when it comes to financing real estate assets in the investing space, DSCR, fix and flip, a lot of the things I talk about here on this channel, there are no absolutes. There are no absolutes. There are no absolutes. I cannot stress that enough. What do you mean, Lorelia, when you say there are no absolutes? Every lender is different when it comes to DSCR, fix and flip, construction, fix to rent. It's not straight across the board. And most professionals who provide financing, whether they're real estate brokers, loan advisors, direct lenders, what have you, a lot of them will not tell you that. So what happens is that you will talk to a particular investor. Maybe you're looking to get a DSCR loan on an asset there that you're looking at, and you take what they say as Bible. Like, oh, okay, I want to be able to get this loan. I'm talking to this professional, and this is what they told me that I need to be able to gather and what I need to qualify for this particular loan. You think it's gospel, but unfortunately, it's not. Those are just the guidelines for that particular lender. And a lot of people do not know that. And that's why I say there's no absolutes. So the conversation of cash flow and appreciation came up from because another investor came, and it was a group of us talking. And we were talking about some of the values that, that are in a particular city. Like I said, I'm here in New Jersey, and one of the major metropolitan cities is the city of Newark, New Jersey. Proximity to New York. I mean, you literally can get to New York City in 25 minutes. Individuals who live in the city of Newark, New Jersey could possibly get to Manhattan, the city, quicker than a person who lives in Long Island, Staten Island, which are all part of New York, Brooklyn, Queens, or what have you, for the listeners who are not familiar with that area. With that being said, the values of that city have skyrocketed. I've actually did case studies of how DSCR loans would work on multifamilies in that particular city. This particular agent was sharing that they recently sold a 4-family in the city of Newark, New Jersey for over $800,000. For over 800. Now, if you've seen the case studies I've did in the past, I've did it in the $500,000 range, 500,000. This particular real estate agent, and of course, I did check, it was over 800,000. Doesn't surprise me. What does surprise me is that how high the values have went up from just 5 years ago in 2020. I say that to say the other investor that I was originally talking to, who was also part of the conversation, who was talking about why is everything different when you talk to other lenders, clearly knows her, I should have said that, clearly knows their investing buy box, which is something I've talked about here on this channel, here on this podcast. Knowing your buy box. What do you mean by that? When I say they are no absolutes when it comes to commercial financing, asset based lending in the DSCR, fix and flip, fix to rent, construction loan space, it's the same thing with there are no absolutes when it comes to cash flow and appreciation. Because at the end of the day, your investment philosophy that you have created for yourself, not something that you're hearing someone online tell you, your own investing philosophy, because there are no rights and wrongs. And as we were talking in that conversation, there are some markets that depreciation is not going to be possible. So that particular investor realized that they are priced out of New Jersey. Like they said, for the amount of down payment that they would have to put down, they're just going to go to another market, which makes sense because this particular investor does own several real estate assets in a whole nother state where the numbers and the scale of appreciation really doesn't exist. The values are low. So that same four family that would be in the city of Northern New Jersey, they can go upstate to, and here in my region, when we say upstate, we mean New York. They can go upstate New York, possibly PA, get that same four family for 150,000. Since that investor knows their buy box, they're not looking for appreciation because they know their own investing philosophy, which is something that I'm a big advocate of when I talk to clients, because you have to know what it is that suits you, not what suits me. That's why I tell people what I invest in doesn't matter. It doesn't help you because you don't know, number one, I wouldn't know your time horizon, your goals, what you're looking to do. And when you don't know why you're investing in real estate, or you're doing it for retirement, or you're doing it because you're trying to create more cash flow into your household, or you're doing it because maybe you do want appreciation, at the end of the day, there are no rights and wrongs. So that's why I'm always leery when I hear professionals say, no, 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 no. If you're going to invest, I recently, and this was somebody in my market, recently said, oh, cash flow is a poor man's game. Well, why are you picking up pennies when you can go for appreciation? In certain markets, you can do that. In certain markets, you could ride appreciation all day long. And that's what we were talking, me and amongst other investors, that we were saying, how high are the prices of properties going to go in that particular city in New Jersey? Because that same realtor who talked about how they was the listing agent on, not the listing agent, they were the agent. Yeah, they were the listing agent, yeah, because they were working with the seller. They were the listing agent for the home that sold for 800,000. What they shared was that particular owner actually wanted 1 million. And when it was originally listed at 1 million, but because they didn't have no traffic or no offers, they lowered the price. And so you could take any metropolitan city here within the US. And I know this is the case. I don't need to have to personally know the market, but I know values have probably, skyrocketed in markets like possibly, Miami, Florida, Houston, Texas, maybe Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina, major pockets of the country where 5 years ago, what sold for one price is not selling for the same price today. And so you have to be very careful when you're listening to professionals who tell you, no, 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 cash flow is king. No, cash flow sucks. Poor man's game. Go for appreciation. There are certain markets where appreciation is non existent. Non existent. Because the thing is that I get the whole conversation of you have investors who say, we force appreciation. I understand that conversation. But from a financing standpoint, someone who assists investors with getting loans, at the end of the day, there's going to be an underwriter who has to approve the financing for whatever real estate asset you're going to buy. And part of that underwriting is going to be a valuation that is done on the property. That valuation is going to be based on what is selling in that particular market. Those are things that you can't control. I'm a real big advocate of know your real estate buy box. Know your own real estate investing philosophy and manage the things that you can control and know what it is that you're looking for because there's no absolutes, especially when it comes to financing. If you're going to use financing, if you're going to use it and you're going to be leveraging financing from a lender, they are going to look at the amount of revenue and income that the property is bringing in, especially when it comes to the example of DSCR, which has to do with multifamilies, to properties that have 2 units or more. The cash flow that needs to come in has to be able to be more than the expenses going out. So once again, cash flow matters if you're going to be leveraging the lender's money. You don't have the liberty of telling the lender, if you're using lender's money, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, this property is not cash flow. Your DSCR ratio is that you will lend on anything that's 1.0 or higher. This is way below 75%. You should still give me that loan because the appreciation in a few years is going to be bananas. Ain't going to happen. Once again, manage the things that you can manage. You're not going to be able to convince a lender that has their lending criteria. They know their lending box. That's why I say lenders know their lending box. They know what they lend on. You as a real estate professional, investor, business owner need to know your real estate buy box. Another one that I've hear people throw around is your cash on cash return. Cash on cash return is something, once again, are numbers that matter to you based on your investment philosophy, based on what it is that you're looking to do personally as you begin to build your portfolio. But it's not a metric that a lender is going to look at. Because remember, this podcast is about creative financing to expand your real estate portfolio. So I'm only going to be talking about metrics that can help you get financing. Cash on cash return is not one. No lender is going to look at the cash on cash return. That's a number that matters to you. That's a number that matters to you, the real estate investor. It's not a metric that matters to a lender. Once again, no absolutes. Oh, Lorelia, you said no absolutes. You're right. Every lender looks at something different, and you're right. But I tell you one thing they're not looking at, they're not looking at no cash on cash return to be able to get you no financing. They're not looking at that. That's your number. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because it once again goes back to knowing your real estate buy box, knowing your investment philosophy, knowing what matters to you, the goals that you're trying to pursue as you invest in real estate, then that matters. So you got to be very careful when you hear people say these things matter. Even me, I have no problem with people calling me out, vetting what it is that I say, but I stand on helping real estate investors expand their portfolio. And the way I do that is by finding the financing vehicle that will suit their goals. That's my only role. That's my role. Once we know those things, it is game on. And if I don't have those things, no, I can't help. But one thing I will not do is take part in conversations that have to do with theory. Because at the end of the day, especially here on the internet, you're going to have people who are just going to give information. And to sum it up, that's what, though, what I said, I had the conversation talking to one investor, another, real estate agent came in, and collectively we're all three talking together, is that there's a lot of information in the marketplace, especially as I film this podcast and do this video. There are a lot of people who just have information. There's a lot of people who are just sharing information. There's a lot of people who are regurgitating information. But there are very few people that can help you execute. And that's why I said my role is to help real estate investors like you, those who are listening, those who are watching, to be able to expand their real estate portfolio using a financing vehicle that best suits them. One solution is not the only thing. And what do I mean one solution? Meaning one financing vehicle, because everyone's goals is different. So if you enjoyed this episode of the Never Lose a Deal podcast, you want to talk more about the things that we talked about today. You want to be able to expand your portfolio. Maybe it is to buy multifamily. Maybe it is to buy a duplex. You want to see how a DSCR loan can help you. Or there may be other financing vehicles that can assist you in your purchase. Let's have a conversation. Go to www.neverloseadeal.com. There, you'll enter your information. What happens is you'll be put on my email communication list for us to be able to have that conversation. But also, want to let you know that this podcast is being sponsored by Leverage Portfolio Capital. And you could go to that website, which is scrolling right along this video. If you're listening to the podcast, is www.leverageportfoliocapital.com. It'll be right under this podcast episode in the show notes. And if you go to that website, there you'll have the opportunity to put in some preliminary information so you can share more about your upcoming real estate purchase that you're looking to do to be able to add to your portfolio. So let's have a conversation. So I hope this information has helped you. Like I said, there's no absolutes. know what it is that you're looking to do for your portfolio. And until the next time, I'll see you in the next podcast episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, all the links will be below.